Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Hollis Planning Board meeting for Wednesday, April 8th, 2026. We will now call the meeting to order, starting on my right.
Tom Witkowski.
Heather Sullivan.
Brett Markey.
Danielle Bradbury.
Butch Gannett.
And with 5 members, that is a quorum for us. Welcome, everybody. If we would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Long midway.
So we can jump right into our agenda tonight. First up is correspondence. I think Ashley provided all of us with a copy of the MMA's local planning board and Board of Appeals training offering. I will say that I signed up for this and I got waitlisted. I don't know what a waitlist for a webinar means, but we will find out what that means. But anyone who would like to attend, let Ashley know and we'll get you signed up. And I do believe, if I remember correctly, it is allowed, you are allowed to share. So you are allowed to meet together. Although we can't meet more than 3 of us without it being a meeting. So that maybe isn't the best idea. But it's, this is a basic introduction to rules and procedures regarding planning boards and appeals boards. I think it is, as it says in the advertisement, it is MMA presented by an attorney at a well-known law firm. And it's for new or less experienced folks to come in and learn what the expectations are for those of us that sit in these seats. So, like I said, I thought it might be valuable for me to learn what we do. So anybody else is welcome to join. And if folks don't and you're interested, of course, anything that I learned that I found to be particularly valuable, I'd bring back to the group anyway. Our second correspondence is, the exciting news that the grant that our select board, in particular Mary Hoffman, worked on getting us, we were approved. So municipalities were allowed to apply for this grant. And while we didn't, municipalities that have, there's some municipalities that have to get this done faster than we do. And those municipalities were preferenced in this award. But smaller municipalities like us that have the town meeting style, we were allowed to apply during this period. And we applied for the maximum amount and we got the maximum amount.
And this, it may seem like a smaller thing or not really a big, it really makes a difference on the cost for taxpayers. So this is a $15,000 grant that really shrinks our required budget. You can see the difference from last year to this year of planning board budget. It takes $15,000 off the taxpayers, which is a huge thing. So Mary did an absolutely fantastic job. And then Heather, you did it as well. So,
Yeah, Mary,
like I said, it may seem trivial, but it has a huge impact on cost, and especially cost to residents.
So I think that the important thing for us to remember is that it gives us as a planning board resources to help us as we are reviewing and updating our ordinances, in particular the zoning ordinances. There is a tie, they are very well tied together. So we're thrilled. We will be working with Southern Maine Planning. When Mary sent us the award, I did send a message back saying, geez, this is the first time that I've been part of something like this. I just don't know the process. Is it me that now that we have a grant, do we get to direct when we talk to Southern Maine Planning? Or does it stay the way that it is now, which is, because of the purse strings required, there's a level of control. So I'm trying to find that out. I am curious to this group, what I was planning was, the grant is for us to make updates to the zoning ordinances that reflect the legislative changes that came through last year. So what my first ask was going to be was to ask Southern Maine Planning to review. I mean, frankly, you'd have to review, you could do a word search, I suppose, but much of our zoning ordinance to identify there are probably different sections that changes will need to be made. It also would need to look at potentially the subdivision regulations and our shoreline zoning. So while we're not asking them to do a review that goes beyond the scope of the legislative changes, I think they may end up finding or seeing things that we might find valuable in as we continue to do our regular reviews. So my goal, I was thinking, have them take a little time to do a review and then come back to us and let us know which sections are going to need to be updated. And then, from there, we can start just picking them off as we move along. We have to have them on the ballot for next June, not this coming June election, but the following one. But if there was a warrant article at the November election and we were ready, we could get it done early if we wanted to.
We certainly could do some.
That's what I'm thinking. Do you guys have a preference? And so we could take on I look at the three proposals. One of them is very simple. It's about parking. And it really has minimal impact on planning board things. There's like one sentence in the ordinances that I found. And then it goes all the way up to, there's going to be some significant changes that we will have to do with respect to multi-unit or multifamily built residential housing, because that's going to be a big change. Whereas now our board looks at anything that's more than 2 dwelling units. The state is now saying that we cannot look at anything that is
Less than
4. No, I think it's 4.
Less than 4, right.
Yeah. So that's going to be a big change, I think. And so I was thinking maybe we go like the easiest, the smallest impact, and then we get our feet under us, and then it becomes easier to tackle the ones that are a little bit more robust. What do you guys think of that?
I think that makes sense.
Like it.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So,
We should-
Mary, hello, would you like to come up to the lectern and give us any news?
We were just talking about your
Well,
the
actually, I
grant.
just wanted to thank you guys for all your hard work. I did do the entire zoning ordinance, and it was excellent. It was outstanding. Thank you for all your work.
Well, thank you.
We'll talk next week about Southern Maine or whatever.
That's what we were just discussing.
Yeah,
And we want to thank you for your hard work in getting us a grant
Oh, you're
that's going to
welcome.
go a long ways towards helping us do what we're doing. So thank you.
You're welcome.
It was a lot of work, Mary.
But
and
I
that
just wanted to tell you guys you're doing a great job, and I appreciate everything you do.
Mary, you're so sweet. Thank you.
And I'd stay, but I got up at 3 a.m.
Oh, no.
So
No, ma'am.
I'm out of here. I'll watch your meeting. I always watch your meeting after the event, so.
Oh, good.
But
good.
thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Thanks for coming through.
welcome.
Anything else from the select board
And
lately?
you were gonna vote on, warrant.
Yes, I have that in front of us. We'll do it as part of, at the end of our old business.
Yep.
Just that was the
That's
right place
fine.
to squeeze it in, but I'm just going to
It
read.
just makes it, more, I don't know, official.
I got you. Yep. You want to know where on the YouTube link you need to go to hear us say that we're going to put them forward. So yes, Mary, we will take care of that tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
But thanks for everybody's hard work.
Thanks, Mary.
I
Have a
didn't
good
mean to-
night.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. Take care. So going back, so we got the award, more to come on that. I think that actually takes care of the grant award in correspondence, and it also crosses off new state land use laws. So we're moving through it. There is a special Conservation Commission meeting that is April 16th, 3 p.m. in this room at Town Hall. And the Conservation Resource Manager for Poland Spring is going to be here along with a state biologist, and they're going to lead a discussion on what Poland Spring does to conserve and encourage conservation, particularly around endangered, threatened grassland bird habitat at California Fields. So if anyone is interested in learning a little bit more about conservation efforts, that would be a fantastic meeting to attend. Then we have got on here an item of surprise. I didn't know this was coming up. Butch, would you like to take over and tell us a little bit about this rate of growth document that we're looking at?
Well, it's something we talked about some time back. We've had them, and then we've not had them, and then we're going to do them again, and we're not. And I had worked on this, and I came across it the other day, and I said, I'll make some copies and send it, and so just, we got it so we can look at it.
Yep.
It's pretty basic. It tells about spec permits and non-spec permits and what they are. It talks about exemptions and what those are. In other words, if you want to gift one of your children a lot of property, they can build a house on there without needing to have a growth permit. There's exemptions for older people, I guess, I'll say that. And affordable housing and things like that. All these exceptions have to, if your child built a home on your property and got an exemption, they would have to live in that property for 5 years. If you built any exemption is, in order to keep from being a loophole, is requirement of 5 years to be on the property before it can be sold. If it's an affordable house, it has to stay affordable. You can't build a giant garage with it and bring it up above poverty level or mid-level or whatever. It's just something we can deal with later on. And I thought everybody get a copy of it and they can beat it up or whatever.
That's great, thank you.
That's the only reason for that.
Thank you very much. I remember us having some initial conversations about this topic. I will say that there is a chance, and you can actually speak to this as well, but I wonder if rate of growth is something that might be addressed in the new in the updated comprehensive plan.
I gave them a copy of this also. It is a subject that's going to be broached in there. You know, the comprehensive plan has a lot of information to begin with, and then it has policies and strategies. And the policy is we want to have a nice looking town, and the strategy is we're not going to build houses 10 foot apart. That type of thing. And it goes for everything. Town properties, safety, fire, all kinds of stuff, all different areas. Land use, future land use, things like that, historic areas. We're dealing with all of that. And we will deal with this growth ordinance in along with that if it's something that's going to go forward.
So, Butch, would you like us to, do you have any suggestions on how we kind of take this, read it, come back at a future meeting? I
would suggest that. Yeah, take a look at it and we'll go over it again at a later meeting, when it can be fit in and when it's workable. One of the things was, is this going to be a growth ordinance on its own, or is it going to be section 9 of the zoning ordinance? So that's a question to be dealt with also.
Okay. That sounds like some fun research for me. On when do you make it separate and when do you make it part of?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know.
We're going to find out. So take a look, let us, we'll bring it up again at another. Like I said, I would love to hear, even if we, before making a decision on whether we're going to invest some time into this, it would be helpful to know if the comp plan might, it's almost like I want to kind of get a feel for the direction the comp plan, but it's more about the changes. Are there going to be significant changes in this comp plan? Historically we said we want to grow, but we don't want to grow too fast.
Right.
Is that still what is the general consensus?
That's still the outlook, and that's another reason for a growth ordinance, is you don't outstrip your town's ability to support its citizens safely and so forth.
Yeah. I think one of the things I'm most unsure of is, given what the state legislature has done in the last few years, I wonder or worry that something like this could become less legislatively acceptable. Because as we know, the state legislature is focused on expanding housing opportunities
Right.
Across the board, whether that's for low income or, or anyone, frankly. So that is one of the things that I think we need to also keep our eye on as we consider this is if growth ordinances have fallen out of favor at the state level, what's the replacement? Is there a different mechanism? I don't know of anything, but I haven't done enough kind of research on something
Right.
like this.
Well, some of it is the growth ordinance has got to be sectional, I guess the term I'll use. Where you're controlling growth, you can be more strict over here, but you've got to be a little less strict with affordable housing and accessory dwelling units.
Well, and your growth areas, if you identify areas of town as growth areas, then you've got to be a little more.
Well, that's another thing that's coming up. The 2005 comp plan that we're under right now has identified Hollis Center Village Zone and North Hollis Village Zone. And there was talk in there that they expanded those zones. There's almost no more room for growth in those zones. So they either got to be expanded or the growth area's got to be someplace else. And I think that maybe growing out from the village is the thing to do. So the zones need to be expanded. Come up 117 further, you down 202 further. You can make those the growth areas. That doesn't mean that you own the property. You've got to sell it and let houses be built on it.
No.
It just makes it, that's our growth area. That's all.
And that's something that we end up, if we're gonna propose expanding growth areas, it's something that ends up going in front of the residents anyway to vote on.
Oh, yeah, the comp
Yeah.
plan will.
Comp plan goes in front of them, and then
We voted on it.
as the mechanism, we would be the mechanism for
So if the,
implementing something like that, unless the comp plan said, well, actually, that's better for the select board to do that. They could, I suppose, I don't think it was written into the last comp plan, but they identified which committees should work on certain things.
Yes, who's responsible for the strategies and
Yep.
policies, yes. And I'm gonna tell you truthfully, I think the thing was put together, voted on, put on the shelf. I don't think there was a whole lot of.
Planning
effort
board
put
actually did a
into-
number of as I was
There you
going
go.
through the last one, I will say that there was a number of things that we, as a whole, certainly not me, I mean, none of us were here at the, well, Butch, maybe you were here back then, but none of the rest of us were lucky enough to be here. And I was actually quite impressed with all of the strategies and goals that fell to the planning board, and then to see how many of those were actually addressed, whether or not it ultimately ended up being addressed with a workable change to the ordinance, or what it was addressed and determined that that wasn't, that wasn't what people really wanted to do. There's just because the residents vote for a comprehensive plan, then there's other things that have to happen that also get voted on. And sometimes those, one of the things I found most fascinating when I was reading it was how much of the prior comprehensive plan was focused on cluster subdivisions. And now we don't have that option. So that cluster subdivisions were really seen as a solution to how to get a level of growth that felt that we were also, that there was also a protection.
And it
of-
maintained
Yep,
green
yep,
space.
Yes. So I'm quite curious to see how that plays out when now looking at their updating, and that's not an option. It'll be interesting to see
Right.
what new ideas come up.
Do you guys leave all cluster, I know you're on the board, did you leave cluster stuff in the new comprehensive plan? Cluster subdivision stuff, or did you pull it all out?
I don't believe there's anything in there about cluster subdivision. I don't think so.
See,
I'm sure we wouldn't have left it in there because
Right,
the state's come down and said, no, you're not gonna do it,
right.
you know? And the townspeople have said, we
Right.
don't want it,
Yep.
so.
More to come, I think, on this. And Butch, I think that a comp plan, you had mentioned to me that you thought that it might be longer than folks had thought that this process will go on. Do you think that we may be looking at 2027 before we're seeing the
I
comp
think,
plan?
yeah, I think June, next June,
Yeah, okay, all right.
because it has to, the state's come down with some things on that too. We just can't put it together, vote it, and enact it. It's gotta go to the state, they've gotta approve it,
And just so that folks here understand, whatever the comp plan says, that actually directs our actions. So we could all sit here and think that it would be really smart to expand in, right next to Poland Spring, to bring new businesses to that area. But if the comp plan does not say that that's an area that we should bring new businesses to, then frankly, we're prohibited from doing it. You can't implement any ordinance changes that are inconsistent with the comp plan. So it's a really important document. And Butch and I had chatted a little bit about as the comp plan committee gets a little bit further along in their work and have some more solid ideas, I would say, that, we would welcome joint workshop meetings to punt around ideas and things like that, because I can't imagine taking a document that is 20-something years old and with the significant changes at the state level and at Hollis level. That's a big project to be taking on, but super important. So thank you, Butch, for sticking with it. We appreciate it.
The irony, let's not miss the irony of the comp plan that is always touted as a non-legally binding document and is just a guideline, but at the end of the day, if the planning board suggests something that's against the comp plan, it's not something that happens. So the comp plan serves a very, very important purpose and should be taken very seriously and not kind of dismissed as, again, I've heard it called many times, it's not a legally binding document. Well, it's just a comp, it's not a legal, it's something that everything in the town is one way or another based off of. So it's a huge job. So you guys are.
The first comp plan was astronomical. I have some copies, not with me here,
Really?
but the town sent out, I'm gonna say, a 10 or 15-page survey to
Yep.
everybody.
Yep.
What would you do here? What would you do here? So forth, so forth. And it was all put together, stuff. They had meetings, and you could go, and they had areas, they had the zoning map up there. You could go pick up a tag and stick it where you wanted the growth area to be. And that's how they got to be where they are. Because people wanted the growth in the villages, they didn't want it up by their house. So, and that's the case. It's what the townspeople wanted, not just for that, but for every single thing in there. That's what they'd like to see. And if you don't get enough people to tell you what they want, you don't have a good document.
It's the same thing we say
That's
here all the time.
That's right. It's a real problem for people not to be involved. Well, I don't care about that. Well, yeah, you really do care about it because something could be done that you don't like. You ain't there, so tough. So you need to be involved.
Yes.
That's for the public.
Yes. So thank you again for your hard work there. We will, I think we will take the rate of growth, which, great job on writing this, by the way, Butch. I know that you crafted this. And I think we'll put it in the second tier list of things for right now, and then revisit it when we may have a better understanding of kind of the direction of the comp plan. Does that work for everybody?
Yep.
Excellent. Greg, do you have anything to say?
No, I think Butch did a great job on that. You know, other than apologies for not being there recently, I have my hands tied, but hopefully I can join you guys a little bit more often, a little more frequently. So
That'd be awesome, Greg. We miss having you around, and we appreciate the things that you've been taking care of in your personal life. That's very important as well. Just going to move along to a review of minutes. We did not have enough members that were present at the February 25th meeting for us to vote on the minutes for February 25th. So we now do, and I think we can look at the 25th and March 25th meeting minutes. We all received these in advance. I don't know if anyone has any comments. I did not. Does anyone have anything that they needed to see changed?
I didn't have any. I would move acceptance of the minutes of February 25th. Is that the one we're on, February?
Yep, we're on
Yeah.
February 25th. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Tom, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Butch, were you here? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so moved. We have approval of the minutes of February 25th. On to the minutes of March 25th. And I don't know if anyone has any comments to this set of minutes. If not, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the minutes from March 25th.
I do need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Tom, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 I was
And
absent.
Butch wasn't here, so that gets us approval of the minutes of March 25th and approval of the minutes of February 25th. Do we have anyone, Mary kind of jumped in and gave us a little bit of a report. Do we have anyone from any other town committees or otherwise who would like to provide us with a report on activities that are going on for them? Ashley, how's the open space plan going?
Yeah, it's going really great. We had our partners meeting March 19th. We had a lot of people from the town coming. It's really great. It's very exciting. They've identified a lot of different open space in the town of Hollis. They have a lot of good plans for it. So I'd encourage you to get to a meeting if you can so you can provide some input. There will be a community survey coming out. I'm preparing postcards to mail those out sometime within the next month or so. There will be a link to a survey. You can go on there and provide some input on your favorite open space in Hollis and what you think is important to the town of Hollis. Really exciting.
How long of a project is this? Do you know what the?
Next year.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, thank you. Keep keeping us informed. We really appreciate it. And really great work being done over Conservation Committee. I can't wait to hear the results of the survey. That's going to be fun. I don't see anyone else that might have a report to give, so we will jump right into old business. So we have Moderation Hall, conditional use permit, and we have the applicant here, if you wouldn't mind coming up and giving us the elevator speech on what your project is and what you've got planned.
Yes, my name is Lee Hoagland. I'm the owner of 10 Moderation Street in Hollis, and otherwise known as the Oddfellows Hall. And I'm applying for a conditional use permit to use it as a contractor's woodworking shop, doing off-site sales or outside sales.
Yep. And we did, at our last meeting, we did look at the application to identify the appropriate use that we would be reviewing, now reviewing the actual application under. The first order of business, which of course my computer is dying over here, is I believe we need to find the application complete. Do you happen to have your? Yes, ma'am.
Everybody has applications in the manila folder I printed for you, so you can bring that back and forth. Plus, everything he provided the past 2 weeks is in your packet.
Terrific. And
would
because
we get
I do
by?
not have my notebook with me, Tommy, would you like to spin through the application requirements for a conditional use permit?
Yep.
And I liked the way that, that we've done this historically, which is to look at each requirement and then, you know, identify and explain why the applicant has met that requirement.
It's gonna take me a year. to
It
find
is section.
I literally have it bookmarked. I think
Okay,
we're good.
good, yeah, I think
That's major, that's minor,
yeah, it's condition.
minor site plan, condition.
Do you want my binder, Heather?
I'm actually gonna pull it up on the computer. Gracia,
741.
sounds about right.
How's that look? Yeah, 741. I don't know if anybody else is looking it up. I'm sorry.
I am.
All right, 741 is minor site plan review application requirements. The applicant shall file all designated fees as determined by the select board. Provide 12 copies of the following. First, they have designated fees. He's already paid the fees. Fantastic. So we're done with that part. 741 is a complete and signed site plan review application form.
We're doing, oh yeah, it always gets me confused because this
Yeah.
is conditional use,
Yep.
which is a site plan review, but well, we're gonna fix this.
Like, this is the one that needs to be completely gone through and updated.
Sure does.
So work with the stuff that they've given us before.
Yeah, we will.
You gave us all new copies. You're the best. Conditional use permit application, site plan review. Application?
It's like both. That's
That's-
what
and
makes
that's
it
what I
so
mean.
confusing.
Yep.
But yeah,
But it
we
is,
will clean that up, I think.
so complete and signed site plan review application form. I'm going to call that conditional use application form because that's what we've done in the past.
Yep.
It also has a use permit application, which is also signed. So we're good with 741. 742 is a property deed, right title and interest, et cetera. In the front of the packet that we got before, release deed. So we've got that. Names and addresses of all abutting property owners, which was on the list for last time that we came up with, and I assume is in the new packet, but if anybody finds it before I do, just feel free to jump in.
I may not have printed that because Tammy gave me that, so that might not be in there. That'd be my bad. 'cause
What's
he
the
did-
process for getting a list of abutters?
I just emailed the code enforcement, Tammy, and I give her the radius that we need, and she sends it right over. Can't remember if you also provided it. You may have your original one for Saco River.
It might be in the Saco River corridor application, but
I can forward it to your email right now, so you have it.
Awesome.
As long, like I said, as long as we've got,
Yeah, it's not.
oh, hold on. I've got a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. So that's in there as well. 744, description of the proposed uses to be located on site, included but not limited to hours of operation, number of employees, materials being used. We've got a description in the,
Yeah, it's stated in there.
Yep.
4 employees, usually 2 on site, and your hours are 8 to 5, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we've got that in there. Cost estimate for all proposed site improvements, I believe, was in the new packet that we got tonight. Saw the breakdown of electrical and sewer and
It's in the new package.
perfect, it's in the new packet. 746 is a scaled site plan showing the boundary of the parcel along with the locations, description of all proposed site, including buildings, additions, renovations to existing buildings, floor plans, and all elevations and principal buildings visible from a public way. I know that's in the packet.
Yes, we do. We have this document, which
Perfect.
does appear to meet.
747 is a method of solid waste disposal.
Tommy.
Sorry.
People are trying to listen to you, and you're talking way too fast.
I'm sorry. I was just buzzing through it.
I know.
All right. 747 is a method of solid waste disposal where disposal will be accomplished through subsurface waste disposal system. An analysis of test pits shall be prepared by a licensed state evaluator. We've usually run both of those, both sewer and I guess I call it solid waste, and it's inappropriately called solid waste, trash, rubbish. There's a trash contract I saw in here for,
Yeah, there's trash contact.
and then all of the solid waste sewer stuff is going through code enforcement, and we've talked to Dwayne, and he's sent us letters and let us know that they're accomplishing everything they need to on that side to bring it up to where they need it to be.
Saco River Corridor Commission has approved a solid, solid waste disposal plan. And did that get approved by code enforcement as well? And so is code enforcement.
Have they staked those off? Has your well location been staked off and your solid waste?
Has it been, what do you mean by staked? Like
Can I
it's,
go up there and see where it's gonna be?
I can, yeah.
Well, okay. That's
It's
what I
not-
meant by being
Okay.
identified, the location's identified.
Yes, it's in the drawing, but it's not staked on the property.
Good?
Did they do test pits?
I don't think you can't do a septic system there, can you? You have to do a holding tank?
No, it's a gray water system
Okay.
with concrete chambers.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's only basically the sink water. And I think the test pit from the previous septic was used.
Okay.
In the approved drawing.
All right.
Yeah, and that is between that building and the building on the right. the next
Well,
one
it
on the
actually goes out the west side, and then wraps around to the east side where there's a concrete chamber leach field. Yeah, and there may be a need for a pump to be installed to get it there.
Well, I just know that's where you talked about the original design. It was there between the two buildings.
Yeah, and this one is just sized down
Yeah,
to
sure.
basically squeeze it in
Yep.
there.
So we're good with, I'm good with that, because everything
Yeah,
has to go.
yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure so it wasn't a sticking point. So 748 is a stormwater management plan, if applicable. Did Saco River Corridor say that you needed a stormwater management plan? Because I can't imagine. Right.
I think being in the existing building,
Right.
been there plenty of time,
A couple of years
we know
now.
what happens.
Yeah. All right, so 749, erosion and sedimentation control plan, if applicable. Again, I don't think Saco River Corridor requested anything,
Yeah.
and they're not. Oh. We got Greg. Greg, what's up, bud?
Hey, guys, just looking at this is the greenhouse in the corner, correct?
No.
No, it's the big yellow, the Odd Fellows Hall.
Okay, disregard, then I had a couple comments, but they are not longer applicable.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Appreciate you. erosion and sedimentation control call.
If they start digging for your septic, then they'll need to do something. That's all.
So-
Yeah, I think it's like standard,
Yeah, sure.
yeah,
What did,
erosion control measures.
what did Pete always say? Best standards and practices? That's-
Yeah, best standards and
Best standards and
practices.
practices.
Yeah, expectation is that we follow best standards and practices
Pete's
on
the best.
those types of plans.
7410 is any other information deemed necessary by the planning board or code enforcement officer to make a reasonable informed ruling on the proposed project.
So we did ask for a couple of things, which I think that you provided them all to us. We asked for a few things at our last meeting. Which we could probably find in our minutes from our
I
last
think
meeting.
that what you asked for was the estimate, the hours of operation, the trash contract,
And number of employees. I
and
think.
number of employees.
Parking spaces.
Parking
Yeah,
spaces.
parking
Everything in
which
your
is
spaces. You
also-
provide us with an outline of the proposed parking spaces. We did have a site visit this afternoon, or this evening, earlier this evening, where we got an opportunity to walk the property and see the building. Does anyone have any specific questions or comments from the site visit that they want to bring up at this point? Do you feel that we are ready to vote on whether or not the application?
Yeah, I'll make a actual number. I'll make a motion that we find complete the application for Hoagland Moderation Hall, conditional use permit number 220141163.
Second.
Any discussion about finding the application complete? Hearing none. Tom, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 All right, so we have now found the conditional use application complete, and that moves us into the next phase of the site plan review, conditional use and site plan review. Now we turn over to, of course, I lose my. We go over to section. This is where it gets so funky. So we classified this as a minor site plan review. Because there's minimal construction, there's no additional area being added to the building. There is, let's see, what else?
You're in 771.
I was in 775.
I went to 771.
Yeah, that's what mine is.
Oh, that's 771.
Yeah, then it just gives procedure. So we're, obviously, we hit A already. We just did B for determination of a complete application. We also killed off part of C with site walk. We should be able to do public hearing and, assuming nothing comes up, approval next.
Have public. We're
Oh, is it
scheduled
on
for
the
public
thing?
hearing today.
Oh my
Yeah, we do
gosh.
need to, we do need someone at this point to make a motion to suspend the planning board meeting and go into a public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Tom?
Yes.
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 We are now moved to the public comment section of our public hearing on application. Where'd you get that number?
It's on the folder.
Oh,
Oh,
you
I'm sorry, application 220141163.
Do we have any members of the public that would like to provide us with comment? Okay. And how about anybody on the Zoom meeting? All right, Greg, you got anything to say?
I do not.
All right. Hearing no public comment, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing and go back to the planning board.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Tom?
Yes.
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 Are back. I always feel like we should like whip around with a different outfit on. We are back. So next up is the minor site plan review procedure. No sketch plan required. We determined a complete application, which is 7.71B. We have done the site walk and the public hearing, which is C. And we now can discuss the application itself and whether or not there are any conditions that we want to put if we do decide to approve the conditional use permit.
I have one question.
What's that, Butch?
Do you plan to do any kind of finishing work, staining, anything like that in there?
Well, probably paint work.
Paint.
Yeah. I don't do a lot of natural finishing.
Okay, okay. My only concern was you've got a gray water system there,
Mhm.
you know, and you need to be careful what you're gonna do with that.
Yes, I dispose, I bucket up my stuff and take it where it belongs, for sure.
Go ahead.
I do have a question as well. Has the fire chief been out to take a peek at the proposed location?
No.
All right. So there is a portion, we review the conditional use permit. We review it under section 7.75. So I think, so this is a little bit more of a procedural question at this point. We can go through the standards for approval under 7.7.5, and we may identify something that we might want more information on, at which point we would have to table the application. We don't want to deny the application and have to start all over again. So if we did find something in that, we would have to table it and we put you on another agenda when you have been able to get to us proof that the standard's been met. So just kind of want to let you know, it's probably like 16, 17 items. So in 7.7.5, we start out with, we shall approve an application provided that we find that the applicant meets the following standards. A, all performance standards in the ordinance applicable to the proposed use will be met. Did you look up the performance standards for this, or are there any?
There's no performance standards for it.
Just the generic.
Just the standards for approval. Standards for approval, everything for all the minors.
Okay. So we can say that there are no specific performance standards for this use, but the performance standards that apply to everyone also apply to this project. That work for folks?
Yes.
And then we should actually vote on each item. Do we want to do that as we go along?
Yes.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion for our response to A, all performance standards in this ordinance applicable to the proposed use will be met.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? So the answer will be there are no specific performance standards and general performance standards will be met. That work? All right, Tommy, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 Okay, standard B. This use is consistent with the comprehensive plan. Public resources identified in the comprehensive plan or some related study, including aquifers, shoreland areas, wildlife areas, and access thereto are protected.
They got approval from Saco River Corridor, which is very strict.
Mm-hmm.
I move the acceptance of that paragraph.
What's that?
I move that the acceptance of that paragraph.
Okay.
And he's complied with it.
Okay, so the Saco River corridor approval serves as,
Yeah.
yep, that sounds great, serves as proof that that standard's been met.
And I'll second that.
Terrific. Any discussion? Tom,
Yes.
how do you vote? Oh,
Yes.
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 wonderful. Standard C, the use will not have an adverse impact on spawning grounds, fish, aquatic life, bird, or other wildlife habitat.
Again, it falls back on Saco River corridor. If they had an issue with any of those things, they would have made a much bigger stink about it than two. So I say that's met, citing the Saco River corridor's approval.
We shall move it.
Oh, yeah.
So move.
Thank you.
Send second, please.
Second.
There we go. Any discussion?
Yes.
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 Standard D, the use will conserve shore cover and visual as well as actual access to water bodies. No access, correct?
Right. I
So
think that's not, that'd be an NA.
not applicable because there is no access and there is no shore cover that needs to be protected.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Tom, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 Standard E, access to the site from existing and proposed roads is safe and adequate. The use will not aggravate or cause undue traffic congestion. Sufficient parking and traffic circulation on the site of the development will avoid conflicts with adjoining properties and streets.
It's given us a parking plan, shown enough parking spaces for the proposed employees as well as public parking, which you guys do most of your stuff off-site anyway, correct?
I liked the, this was one I had a little bit of a concern about because I envisioned the property to have less space than it actually had. So I was pleased to see that there's, it looks, from us pulling in
I
and
think
being
we
on the
proved
site.
it today.
Yeah,
We had,
it was
7 cars there today, and
yeah,
there's-
and it felt safe, and we didn't have any serious stoppages of anyone wondering what we were doing there. So I think that worked out well. But for purposes of the potential approval, parking, we've seen a parking drawing that is adequate for the number of employees. And it doesn't appear to be any risk of aggravated or undue traffic congestion.
so moved.
Second.
Tommy?
Yes.
Yes.
Discussion.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Do you have discussion?
Sorry.
Sorry.
I don't want this to be a showstopper, but I think it's incumbent that we require some sort of a survey of this property so that we know where the lines are. We know where they think they are. But, even I'm not talking about a full-blown chain encompass survey. I'm talking about a commercial, what you get when you sell your house, they want to make sure it's where it ought to be.
Is the,
Would tax map do that?
Tax map is,
No.
it's taken off the deed, but I mean, it's not on the ground represented.
Yep. Do you know when the last survey was of that property?
I'm not sure. It's been part of other survey plans. The surveyors across the river there gave me some plans that had,
Well, I would think maybe Tony next door on the right,
I think so. I think he has something.
he probably has something for when he bought that house.
Yes.
And the guy on the other side might have something. That would satisfy me.
Okay.
I mean, they're not always going to be the same people living there, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need to have problems not having a deed right.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. I'd like to see.
So you'd like it
I'd
surveyed
like to
and
see some
staked?
corners, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm fine with them from Tony and from your other neighbor
Okay,
would be fine.
okay.
So that is an item that we will put on the next meeting. When you have it, get it back to us and we
Okay.
can take a peek at it. And then we will vote on that particular item at that time.
I'm fine with voting on it now.
Oh, okay, so long as we have the
we get
documents that you just described. Okay, can you motion that?
I'll make a motion that we find this particular paragraph agreed to.
Subject to receipt of
Yeah, that's correct.
the surveys that were done on adjoining properties.
Adjoining property, yeah.
Perfect.
Second.
Any discussion?
Could I bring the plans to code enforcement
That'd be fine.
and they can then scale them for you or however?
That would be fine.
Okay.
Fine with me.
That's fine with me. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Anybody have any objection? Right. We do need to take a vote on this particular standard.
Yes.
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 Yes?
Fantastic. The site design is in The site design is in conformance with all flood hazard protection regulations, and any proposed construction, excavation, or fill will not affect a water body's ability to store flood water. I don't believe that flood hazard protection regulations apply here.
And there's no proposed construction, excavation, or fill proposed.
Right.
And anything that does get proposed goes through code enforcement.
And you're not going to store anything outside that
No.
could float away in the event of a flood, so.
And it'll also, I keep forgetting that it also goes, anything he wants to do goes through
Saco River.
Saco River as well. So there's two levels of, two sets of eyes, if you will. Good with that one. So moved?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Adequate provision for the disposal of all wastewater and solid waste has been made. All sanitary and solid waste are treated in a manner approved by qualified professionals, together with agreements necessary for the transportation, disposal, and storage of hazardous materials.
So,
I think he's addressed that.
yeah.
So we have a approved, is it approved septic plan? Is that what it, approved septic plan, an approved
Septic design.
design, thank you.
a
Well,
letter- a
an
letter
approved
from the
well.
trash collector.
We have a contract with the trash
Yeah,
collector.
yeah.
Oh, I move.
Move it. We'll give that a check mark.
All right. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Tommy?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Fantastic. There is adequate provisions to control soil erosion and sedimentation have been made. Building locations or engineering measures ensure that wetlands and water bodies will not be adversely affected by erosion, runoff, or pollutants.
Did you just skip like
I was
three
gonna say, you
months?
just
Did I?
skipped
There's
two.
no,
Oh, shoot.
H.
I apologize, we'll go back there. Hazardous materials in two. Adequate provision for the transportation, storage, and disposal of any hazardous materials has been made.
You touched on it, right? If he's storing any stain on site, stuff like that.
right. So, yeah.
Storage isn't an issue, it's the, transportation, storage, and disposal. And you have that, does your trash hauling contract cover hazardous waste disposal?
I don't think so. I think
Not if they know about it.
So how would that be handled? Well, what hazardous waste do we anticipate here?
Well, I would think he could have thinners and things like that, but if he tells us he's taking them from the site and taking care of them,
Yeah.
I'm satisfied with that. I think he's a reputable guy.
Will you be taking any hazardous materials that you use on site, off-site for disposal?
yes.
All
Through
right.
like the Paint Safe program.
Oh,
That's available at a lot of the hardware stores and paint.
Love it,
purposes, yeah.
love it.
So moved?
Second.
So, wonderful. Any discussion? Tom?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Item I, a stormwater drainage system capable of handling a 25-year storm without adverse impact on adjacent properties has been designed.
I think that's an NA because there's no construction going on here. So
No
that should be an
changes.
NA.
No change to the impervious
And the
area.
building's been there for
Right,
a long time, so.
So, not applicable.
So moved?
Second.
Tom?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Item J. Adequate provisions to control soil erosion and sedimentation have been made. Building locations or engineering measures ensure that wetlands and water bodies will not be adversely affected by erosion, runoff, or pollutants.
I again think that is non-applicable since there's no construction, exterior construction going on. or
Are we
any
in
type of
agreement?
earthwork.
So moved. Well, I can't move it.
So moved?
Second.
Tom, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Item K, there is adequate water supply to meet the demands of the proposed use. I think a water supply is going to be built. So I assume it's going to be built up to code. Our code enforcement officer will ensure that it is adequate.
And they won't issue an occupancy permit without adequate water supplies. So covered on that end as well.
I move the acceptance of that.
So moved?
Just need a second.
Second.
Tom, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Item L, the development provides for appropriate buffering of adjacent uses where there is a transition from one type of use to another, and for the screening of mechanical equipment, loading, service, and storage areas, and parking lots. Buffering must be designed to provide a year-round visual screen and to reflect the character of the area.
Greg has his hand up.
What up, Greg?
Hey, Heather, just back to item K. Typically, we used to require a well driller's letter if that's going to be the water supply for that site. Just want to bring that up. and say that was the norm.
We have the approved well, the well plan has been approved by Saco River Corridor and code enforcement. Would we still need a well driller at that point? A well driller
That's
letter.
discussion, but just that what used to be the board's unofficial standard. Not saying it needs to be followed, but just kind of want to chime in on that one.
Thank you for chiming in on that one. Do we feel that given that there are approvals to dig the well that is designed to meet the use, do we feel that we do need a well driller's letter specifically?
I feel like if Saco River approved it, I mean,
Yeah, the other one that I would say on this is that it's not going to be a habitable structure. It's going to be a workspace, so I don't know that reliance on the well letter is going to go too far.
Hey, you guys, just Greg again. Yeah, typically the well driller's letter was to not for the location of the well, but to determine that the well driller would assume there would be enough water for the use. Not necessarily the location, but ensure they could get usable water at the site.
Right. That typically there's enough water in the area to support a well for his needs. I know that's what they're talking about here. You're not going to get a well driller to certify a well that hasn't drilled yet, but he can tell you there's water in the area.
Well, given the fact that,
Well, I mean.
he
you
doesn't
got-
have a bathroom.
there's plenty
He's
of
just going to do a,
houses
s-
that-
a
right.
sink. Yeah,
Right.
it's not like he's building or putting in
Right.
a livable space.
Right.
We can throw it as a condition of approval. Like, it doesn't, like I said, I don't know that I'm hung up on it, truthfully, just because
Do you have?
I'm sure
well-
all the houses that are within very close
that?
Do you
proximity
have
all
a
have
well driller?
water.
I have people that, I would contact first, I guess.
Okay.
But it's, the amount of water I'd be using is so little, and it's, from what I understand, the water table's pretty high there.
Yeah.
But
You could
I
probably
can
get
do
away-
that
get
if
away with a
necessary.
Well,
point
there's a
well.
drainage swale, so.
I guess- yeah.
Let's see what Saco River Corridor said about water.
I was trying to find it. I couldn't find it.
There's a cistern on the west side. Um,
Which also indicates that there's water.
Yes.
Yeah, we messed that up. I'm not gonna lie to you. We should have included Greg in all that. So I don't know how you want to play that one.
We haven't been, Greg, we haven't been having you vote. I apologize.
No,
You're,
that's okay. In the past, it's been difficult to have members on Zoom vote, so there hasn't been any tiebreakers, so I wasn't concerned.
okay, great. Thank you. We appreciate that. I apologize for not, I think this is the first time I've had someone on Zoom that I've had to think about that for, so. So let's see, the applicant, pardon? No, never. No proposed disposal field. They don't,
Again, it wasn't my intention to cause a hiccup, just kind of want to.
Well, you did, Greg.
Well,
With 3 Gs. Like I said, I can assume safely, I feel, that with all the houses surrounding it and they all have water, that,
just, I was,
that
just-
they'd be able to hit water.
I agree with you, Tom.
In lieu of a well driller's letter, which is, Greg's 100% right. We usually always ask for a letter from a well
Right, if he
driller.
was out in an area where there weren't any other houses, then
Right.
yeah, we might want to be sure there's water.
Right.
For the-
For what it's worth,
Yeah.
any of the businesses, there's 3 or 4 of them now that I've started, we've never asked for a well driller's letter. So I don't want to say,
I don't
it's
know.
usually what we do, but we have in the past forgotten or just not asked for it. I think I did it once, actually. I take that back. So make of that
So-
what you will. I think we're good with it.
Do we need to move that we still okay with that, or can we just move on?
I think we just say that for the fact that we have approvals for the drilling of a well from Saco River Corridor Commission and Hollis Code Enforcement Officer, that we deem that to meet the standard.
Okay. Which, yeah, and we already dealt with that.
What were we on, Greg? Heather? Anybody? L?
We were
We're on
starting
L.
L.
L or M, I think.
Go for a
Al.
second.
You want me to read? I'll read L real quick.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
L is the development provides for appropriate buffering adjacent uses, whereas there is a transition from one type of use to another, and for the screening of mechanical equipment, loading services, and storage areas and parking lots. That's buffering must be designed to provide a year-round visual screen and to reflect the character of the area.
We've got letters.
Well, we have to touch on it at some point. In the past, we've required some sort of visual screening. I don't.
I think if this was a new building going up, we might require screening. We've got letters and emails from various neighbors in the area. I have no problem
Okay.
with this use that's being proposed. And being as how it's a building that's been right there in that community for over 100 years, that only buffer.
Are you? If there's an issue down the road, are you against putting up a fence?
I'm not.
Okay. I don't think it's necessary to require a fence. We've required fences in the past for when a commercial use abuts a resident, and it does on all 3 sides in this case. But the applicant is at least open to putting a fence up if there is an issue down the road. So that's fantastic. It falls on us to require it, and it will come back around. We did it with a couple other ones. Greg, go for it, bud.
Hey, guys, I don't have the plans in front of me. I didn't get those, unfortunately. There was, I'm trying to find it right now, but some requirements for parking spaces to have a 6-foot buffer around them, I believe.
For visual buffer, or are you talking about just between?
Yeah, visual buffer,
Yeah, it's in the. It's in the back, yeah,
no
I'm
less
seeing
than
it.
6 feet in height, may contain evergreen shrubs, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Abutting parking lot and loading spaces joining all residential properties.
Yeah.
6.16.9.
Thank you. I knew it was
So-
in there somewhere. Like I said, it's not something that we made up in the past. It was something that was,
That's a buffer from property line?
so it's anytime there's a commercial use that abuts a residential use, we've always required some sort of visual screening, whether it's natural or man-made, either a fence or a trees.
Right, right. But he's talking about a visual buffer.
Yeah, from where the cars would be parked. So from where the cars would be parked, there needs to be a buffer around. Most people just went with a fence either on the left or the right side of the back of the property.
The amount of vegetation that was removed from the site.
Yeah,
Like
that would've
that's,
covered it.
that, that, to me, that is,
I think it would be distracting.
Yeah, I think we're looking at
that
a
building.
site that's,
Because it's a
possibly
site
a
that is-
historic site, and we're gonna put a 6-foot fence around the cars in front of it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not gonna work.
we
Are you
did
guys
not-
saying that this person does not need to meet 6.16.9, one of the performance standards? Are you gonna
What?
exempt him from this standard?
My computer died, so I don't even know. what he said.
If he could ask for a variance, or he could ask for an exception or
Waiver.
variance, a waiver, excuse me. Waiver from 6.16.9. If,
Because it was previously a commercial use. It mixed into a residential neighborhood and it didn't have the buffer. I mean, it had an overgrowth buffer.
did
Is
have,
that better?
it did have a buffer before.
It
Well, we
also
don't know what it
wasn't
really had.
applying for a conditional use permit in the past.
Right.
This use has to apply to all standards today moving forward. And I don't know when that 6.16.9 was enacted, but I assume it wasn't always there.
Yep.
6.16.9 is what we're looking at, if anybody wants to read it real quick.
So I hate to harp on it. I just know we've approved stuff in the past that we've overlooked this. And I've heard that some neighbors were complaining about some headlights. So just want to make sure we're not overlooking something that could bite us in the future.
Given the fact that Saco River Corridor Commission is not requiring a buffer either.
All right, so it says, except that driveways shall be kept open to provide visibility for vehicles entering and leaving. Do you think, Greg, do you have this? Can you see? Give me a zoom in. Where's my zoom in guy? No? All right. So I think it'd be tricky to require a fence around the vehicles, whether it be parked in front of the building. The left is I want to say obscured by a hill, and then the right is definitely feasible, but I don't know that it wouldn't block safe entry and exit for the people coming and going.
And
And like, one of the things in 616.9 is, except that driveways shall be kept open to provide visibility for vehicles entering and leaving. I like entering and exiting much better, but we won't get into that right now. Conditional use approval requires a time frame of 6 months to put the screening in. If the screening is not put in compliance with this section, the conditional use permit becomes null and void. And the site shall be inspected within 6 months after the start of construction by the code enforcement officer.
no construction.
How does the board feel about that as a reason to not require? We were there today, we saw where cars would be parked. We'd be requiring a fence on the left, and basically on the left and the right side of that building to cover where the cars would be parked.
Well, aren't they parking right in front, like where we were all parked? I feel like, I mean, you'd have to drill it into the pavement, wouldn't you?
It's not a matter of getting it done, it's a matter of if doing it obscures
Right.
visibility for entering and leaving and causes a safety issue for those people.
I
I
feel
don't
like it
see how
would,
it
and
makes
the
it any
neighbors as
safer.
well.
What is the neighbor on that side's name?
Tony Della Chapa.
So we do have a letter from Tony Della Chapa where he full support of his use of the building, and it would be a very good addition to the neighborhood. It would be nice to see the building being used and improved.
So that's the neighbor that has the most to, I don't want to say lose, because that's not the word, but
Right.
will have the most impact of cars being parked there, pulling in and out. He's the downside neighbor. The other one's up on the hill, which I can't imagine is going to see much traffic, if anything.
Well, play devil's advocate. What if he sells his house and there's new owner of that property?
Yeah, the one up on the hill is there. It's also for sale, or will be for sale.
I mean, the one that approves it, what if they're playing devil's advocate here? He sells the house in a year, hates that he has lights in his yard or whatever. the
Are
case may be.
you opposed to putting a fence up if you get complaints from the neighbors? If code enforcement gets complaints from the neighbors, are you opposed to putting a fence up?
If that's what I have to do, sure. It does seem like in that spot, it would make it more hazardous. It's a weird intersection with different cars coming from different directions. I think it would totally look bad because the point is that it's this beautiful building. And to then, slap a fence.
The nice
up
thing
in
is you
front.
could go with trees or shrubs. I mean, that would be the out.
If necessary, but I mean, I know Tony's been dying to just turn that to grass. I mean,
I think as long as he's not opposed to putting up a fence,
I'm not
if there's a complaint, right?
Yeah.
I mean-
Or a tree, shrub. buffer,
Shrub,
one,
something.
a buffer that meets code.
Yes, I'm certainly open to it, but I also think it's,
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'd like to waive the requirement that we've been discussing, given the fact that we have talked about a lot of different things, how a fence will be objectionable in the village and may cause more problems than it solves, and the fact that we have taken this all into account, and we ought to be able to make a decision on it now. So I move that we waive this particular requirement.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Tommy?
Yes.
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 Yes?
All right. Pull the next. I lost my computer.
I lost my place, so you can,
Mug. I'll take it. And I can just follow.
I got you. Is it I? J.
And I would put,
Sorry, go ahead.
M.
M.
We are on M.
M.
As
The use will not deplete or
Hold on
degrade.
1 second, Tom.
Yep.
I would put a statement by that item as to the fact that we considered it and decided that it wasn't required.
And, I'd also include that we're all at the site walk.
And that he's willing to do something if he needs to down the road.
It'll be in the minutes. She's the best.
That should be made a condition on the finding of facts, showing that performance standard is waived. That way it's clear and all for anybody looking for it in the future. That way there are people looking for it.
Was it 6:16:9 in the finding of facts? Good catch,
Thanks, Greg.
Mr. Gregory.
Okay.
M. The use will not deplete or degrade adjacent water bodies or supplies.
Next. Very close to the Saco River.
Saco River Corridor is happy with what he's doing. It's not pulling water from any, and it's not sending anything into the water. I don't want to say NA, but I'll say
No,
that.
it's like a low impact use.
Yep.
I would also say too that in general with this building, because of its foundation, it's got all this permeable soil below it. So the other option for it is, you know, to be torn down, which almost will certainly have a higher impact than it has now. So
There we have
it's like, you know, the actual square footage of the foundation is pretty small because of the way it's built on piers, and it has all that sandy soil, you know, permeable soil in it, so.
All the lead paint just drips down through. No, like I said, I don't think it's non-applicable, but I think it's a very low-risk thing. 100% right. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing
Yes.
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 N, the use will not adversely burden existing municipal infrastructure. This is when we usually have a letter from Chief Young. This is where we usually toss that part in. So probably a solid idea, seeing as there's currently no water, no power, that we at least throw it as a condition of approval that Chief Young, like you had mentioned, at least takes a look at it and says, hey, you know, this isn't a horrible
Well,
idea.
He's gonna, I think we're gonna have him talk
Yeah.
to Lee. I think having a building occupied makes it safer than being unoccupied,
Yeah.
so.
Greg's got his hand up again. Greg?
Hey, guys, sorry to keep bugging in. I know Chief Young typically asks for a Knox box. Has that been discussed in this project?
No, we haven't discussed it, but
don't-
I would say that that's why we would ask that you would contact the Hollis Fire Chief Young and ask for, it's not really an inspection, is it? Like, we're not,
No, it's just, I think it's just a letter of
Meet and
approval.
greet.
Yeah.
a letter of
Walk
approval.
and, a walk and talk.
So what is it? Walk and talk is different than a letter of approval, in my
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah, no, a letter from the fire chief saying that, I don't want to say he approves of it. but-
No, I think a letter from the fire chief identifying any,
That he's aware of the operation.
any concerns.
Yep. Identifying any concerns. I don't know that he need a Knox box. I don't, like,
We ought to send a message, send a message to the fire chief and ask him to make contact with Lee, give him a contact number, and give us a report.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Tom, that's just been his request on every conditional use that I've been a part of. So that was just why I was throwing that out there.
Yep.
That's been his typical response.
do all the,
Every-
like, all the
every
pot,
use.
all the pot places and like used car dealerships and storage units have not Knox boxes? Or is it just the solar stuff? I don't know.
No, we've always done.
Really?
Yeah.
6 years, I don't remember any of that. I just remember it being the like the solar projects wanting Knox boxes.
I think
And
that
then-
people just agreed to it when Chief said it, so it.
And it was just in the
issue.
letter and we just
Yeah,
never
it
really
just
went over
didn't
it.
become a
No,
big issue.
you're probably
I
right.
think there was a couple times that there was questionable whether or not.
No, he might ask you to put a Knox box on the building.
What is that?
It's a Knox box. If they got a call down there, and it's a fire or whatever the case,
middle of
they
the
could
night.
gain entry into the building if you weren't there.
You've seen them on,
Basically, you
yeah.
put a key in a box and
Right,
they
right, okay.
unlock the box.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yes, okay.
they're on basically every building. You've walked past them 1,000 times. You just
I
don't-
know what you're talking
Yeah,
about
okay.
now, yes, yeah.
Perfect. So we'll add that as a condition of approval for fire chief letter.
But what if the letter says, no?
I
Just
don't know that we're,
You can say condition of approval, barring refusal or barring a negative comment from the fire chief.
I don't know that
If you want to.
Chief Young is looking to say no.
No.
I think he's looking to make sure that he has access and can adequately control a fire if there's a fire. We wouldn't pull water from the building that's burning. Like, he doesn't, and he's right next to the river.
Right.
So I can't imagine that Chief Young would have any issues with it beyond making sure that he can gain access if no one's there. You know, there's no one living there. I know that was his other
I
part
know
of it.
that is out there.
Right.
So
I'm just trying to figure out how to write it, so that way,
we've always asked for a letter from the fire chief. And I can, 6 years I've been here, I think I've read 2 of them. And it just says that he's made contact with the applicant and arranged a fire protection plan. Greg?
Hey, guys, potential conditional use could be the applicant agrees to install Knox box if requested by fire chief. That would help us if, he did want that. That would give the findings of facts a little teeth.
So moved.
And it-
That's
Second.
good. You like that? I just stole it from him. Well done, Greg. It's moved and seconded. Are you happy with that?
I am asking a business owner in the town, are there any fire protection standards for commercial businesses?
I had a letter as a business owner. I had a letter from the fire chief once when I originally started my used car lot. And he came in, took a look at the building, asked me what I was doing with it, where the closest, they determined where the closest fire hydrant was, or cistern, I believe, which ended up being empty. But that was basically it. It wasn't really, he didn't ask for a Knox box. He wanted to make sure that he could have access and make sure no one was living there and stuff like that. He asked if people were living there, and I explained no one's living there, and it's pretty straightforward. It's not do you have sprinklers? Do you have
That's what I was.
water on site or anything like that? Fire alarms. He asked if we had fire alarms, made sure they were working. Exits were properly marked. He might yell at you for that. I get yelled at for it sometimes.
Okay.
So exits properly marked. That's a good one. See? Workshop.
Where would a person get a copy of those standards? How would someone know
I
what the?
assume it's fire code stuff that
Fire
he's
code.
citing because he gave me a number
Yep.
in with dots and stuff like that. He said, "Hey, pursuant to this, you have to have this," and we obviously fix it the next day. But yeah, so Chief Young's amazing. If you just give him a call and say, "Hey, I'm just looking for a letter, starting a business. This is what I'm doing," letter of approval. He'll come down and take a look at it, do a walkthrough with you, identify any problems he sees, and then
Yeah, if he hasn't been in the building, he wants to be in the building.
I was gonna say he's gonna want to check it out anyway because it's really cool.
Well, he's gonna want to have a fire plan for that building anyway.
Yeah.
so,
Right,
You know, so he needs to go down and have a look.
Which having a fire plan is better than what currently exists.
Oh,
which is no
absolutely.
fire plan.
Well, no fire plan, an empty building.
Agreed. So it's been moved and seconded.
Yes.
Yeah,
Are we ready to vote?
I am.
Okay. Tommy?
Yes.
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 So that satisfies, is it N or O?
N.
Well, O is adequate provisions for fire protection have been supplied for the intended use. So I'd say that that kills N and O and also gives us a condition of approval that ties in the fire chief. So that's all of our standard.
Should we vote on O though, since we technically didn't?
Yeah, let's do that.
Just like a blanket vote, which is
O would be.
respectfully what we used to do in the past, but we were just on a roll right there, so we went with it. So
Next time we'll do a blanket. Yeah, why don't we just close the door on that? And somebody could motion for duplicating the response to the standard from N in O.
So moved.
So it will be subject to police contact with contact with Chief Young and his inspection and receipt of a letter that he's inspected.
moved and seconded.
How do you vote?
Yes.
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 All right, is that the last one?
That's the last one.
So we also have, we have some common conditions of approval. So I would like to, I don't know that we need to go through them all. I think we always used to just say like, in addition to the regular conditions of approval that we always put in there. I don't know, Greg, do you have any access to a document that would show us what those conditions of approval are?
Let me do some digging here.
Just want to make sure we don't pop anything in that's a surprise, but it's the same conditions we apply to any condition. We don't do conditional use approvals as often as I think any of us would like. So we do sometimes get a little I sometimes get a little hesitant that maybe I've forgotten something. So that's kind of what I'm trying to avoid right now.
Yeah, to put it in perspective, we've done maybe 7 in the past decade,
I feel like that's,
and then 4 of them were pot shops and 3 of them were me. So it's kind of a, like, there's not many businesses, unfortunately, starting in Hollis that come through for conditional use permits. There are more small stuff,
Home
permitted
occupations.
use,
Yeah,
stuff
permitted
like
use
that,
in
home
Hollis.
occupations that come through, but they don't come in front of the board. That's why it appears as we stumble through it, we reference that part of it probably once a year at best. So
I'm learning all this too.
awesome. We'll learn it together.
So, assuming Greg can't find anything, like I said, I remember going through it but I've had 3 different copies of this,
And I don't think that any of those standard conditions
Well,
of approval.
I think the normal things would be these things that we just went through.
Yep.
That he says this, that, and the other. He's told us what his work hours are, what his number of employees are, and things like that. So that's all contingent, okay, on our approval of his use application. I don't know about
sorry.
outside storage of materials. I'd like to see that that's not allowed.
So no storage of material, no
Outside.
exterior storage. Yep, okay. Do you have any intent to store materials outside?
No,
So,
I mean, potentially, but it's not allowed.
I'll give you a backstory. This is what I did when I was looking for an approval for my car dealership a decade ago. And when the board, not planning on this, when the board at the time suggested random things, I didn't care because I was just looking for the approval. And it was more of a pain for me to go back and try to change it after. They put limits on how many employees I can have, a bunch of stuff that otherwise overstepped what they were allowed to do. I don't want you to agree to something, no outside storage of materials, if you intend on someday storing materials outside, because if you are, we could just do outside storage of materials shall be enclosed in a fence. Stuff like that. So I don't want you to say no and then want to just leave some lumber outside and have a neighbor complain because you're technically not allowed to. So if it's something that you think you might want to do down the road, a shed where you could store materials, which I guess technically wouldn't be outside storage. What's a shed? Anything under 10 by 10 doesn't require a permit. Yeah, 100 square feet,
fabric garage,
10 by 10.
if it's smaller than 10.
Smaller than 10 by 10 doesn't need a permit. So if you, like I said, if you want to store stuff outside, I'd bring it up now and we can work through it as a board rather than you having to come back in front of us.
Yeah, I'm not really thinking of like permanent outdoor storage, but I also may want to leave some staging outside.
Well, you might bring in
or-
a couple of beams from a building and, you don't want to maneuver them all into the building and you bring them in.
Yeah, and
3
have a
at
drop
time.
zone. I mean, I own, it's not intended to be a place of leaving scaffolding, but.
And we do have like a nuisance
you know.
ordinance we do have a nuisance ordinance, or at least some language around nuisance that were it to become excessive.
It wouldn't even need to meet that. So if he says he's not storing materials outside and we have it in here that he's not storing materials outside, all it takes is a neighbor to come by and say, hey, go to code enforcement and say, hey, he's been storing these beams outside. He can't store materials outside.
I don't know. My neighbor's been going to the code enforcement for 3 years about my other neighbor and nothing's happened. So you got a good 3 years before
It's a
anything
lot,
happens.
they take it a lot more seriously when you have a conditional use permit, and they have a lot more teeth when you have a conditional use permit. That's why I ended up with a fence around my property, because I had a neighbor that complained. Doesn't matter, he's a quarter mile through the woods and you can't see his house, period. The fact was, I wasn't allowed to do something, and he said, you're not allowed to do something, and code agreed. I didn't, but it didn't matter. So
Gotcha. No, you make a really good point.
I just don't,
And I'm not
no, of course. Like I said, I just.
belittling it at all.
You can get away with whatever you get away with until your neighbor says they don't like it, especially if it's in here. So if you want to store materials outside, then you can do it. But if they complain then you're gonna have to come in here and find a solution to storing
You
materials.
should ask for, like, can you ask for temporary storage of
Oh,
material?
Greg's got his hand up again. Greg, go.
Hey, guys, found an old conditional use permit. Some things that are applicable to this one. Applicant shall follow main state best management practices for erosion control.
Yeah,
control?
where is all the, what number is that?
It's
This
not
is
in
just
the
some
ordinance.
conditions on another permit that we approved.
I know,
not
but
in
we,
it's
but
not
we
in the
pulled
ordinance.
it from somewhere. Originally, it was
Probably
fine.
another conditional use
I think
permit.
I wrote that a long time ago.
Oh,
Oh,
Greg
okay.
wrote it.
That sounds like something I would write.
Yep. Best standards and
Paving aerial
practices.
area downs must be restored to substantially similar condition as that condition prior to construction.
No construction.
Those all came from
The
somewhere.
property shown on the site plan may be developed and used only as depicted on the approved site plan. All elements and features of the plan and all representation may be made by the applicant concerning the development and the use of the property which appear in the record of the planning board proceedings are condition of approval.
Yeah, I'm
No
gonna actually
change
jump
from the conditions of approval are permitted unless an amended plan is first submitted and approved by the Hollis Planning Board.
Yep.
All required permits, federal, state, and local, are to be current. If any other uses are proposed on the site or any expansion of the existing building is proposed, the applicant is required to obtain additional planning board approval. No hazardous material or oily waste shall be stored on the property. And lastly, the chair is authorized to execute these findings of fact on behalf of the planning board.
Okay, what I can do, thank you, Greg. What I will do is I will pull a prior conditional use approval, assuming that we vote to approve, and I will include the standard language. I'm looking at Saco River Corridor Commission, and they provide standards. It's a separate document, and it's attached. So there is, you know, some precedence for how this works, and I think that's how we will handle it if that works for the group. Given that, I think now it would be a great time for the blanket motion to approve the application with the inclusion of the findings of fact and the conditions of approval that we've discussed.
So move.
Second.
Further discussion? Tom?
Yes.
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 You have your conditional use permit. We do have to write findings of fact, and I think this is, I can already see Ashley working. It may take us a couple days to pull that together because I do want to go back and make sure that we adequately, but not overreach on our document. So Ashley and I will work together, and then I will, we generally have those sent out to the town attorney to ensure that I didn't do something inadvertently to mess up your conditional use. But congratulations, welcome, officially welcome to Hollis. We look forward to seeing what you do with the building. And do you have any questions for us?
No, thank you. I'll be around.
Awesome, we're looking forward to it.
You just need to coordinate with Dwayne, with the
Yep.
CEO, and
Yeah,
Yep.
and you know, get those items, you know,
They'll be in your findings of fact letter, so you'll have a blueprint, so to speak.
you get us those surveys from the adjacent properties.
yes, get you the surveys
Right.
and then the fire chief, which is
Yep.
still a little nervous about, but
Chris is awesome. He'll work with you and make
Yeah.
sure that you're up to speed on everything.
yeah. No, I know a firefighter who, and they joke that like all the firefighters have wanted to burn that place down.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's because they didn't get a chance to go inside it and take a look at how
So they got
beautiful it was.
they get me nervous about it. They've been dying to, but not this year.
I gotta wait another 30 years.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
so funny because I found it to be just, my non-fire or other I found it to seem to be a very sturdy building, far sturdier than like the home I live in. So
It really is. It really
yeah,
is.
I found it felt very, very maintained.
Significant.
It was
Yeah,
well
very
built.
maintained.
Yes, the roof has done it really well.
Wow. Well, you don't hear that very often.
That's the key.
It's everything.
So fantastic. We are getting very close to that hour where I just get very,
We've got somebody here.
yes. I get very close to
You're
that.
good to go, my dude.
Okay, I'm good.
Yes, you're
Thank
good
you
to
so
go, Lee.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
We will, that concludes our old business.
We're gonna skip new state land use laws?
Yeah, we already talked about it. It's
Okay, all right.
it's the Southern Maine, Southern Maine Planning. And want to check with our one, you're good? All right, so we do not have any new business planned for next meeting. We do need to get started again on our ordinance review. Actually, we have to do two things. We have to do a vote on the warrant articles.
Yeah.
So it's just Mary gave us, by Mary's note.
I guess that's just to say that we are in favor of those, yeah.
Yes,
I thought we were going to quit doing that.
we actually already did it, but I didn't feel like arguing about it or looking it up, so I just said we'd do it again.
So we're just she's looking for a motion to approve as written, correct? All the proposed,
As submitted.
as submitted, excuse me.
Yep. And I think it would be value added if we could include the warrant article numbers. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, so what? I did not see that.
Change.
All right, let's
So I'll
let's use the
I can
words.
read it real quick. I won't
Use
get-
the words that we
Yeah.
use, so the zoning ordinance, the planning board ordinance, and the use in the Hollis use table.
So make a motion to approve as submitted an ordinance entitled, 2026 amendments to the zoning ordinance of the town of Hollis, Maine. To approve as written, she keeps messing with me. It's an ordinance entitled 2026 amendments to the town of Hollis Planning Board ordinance, and to approve as submitted an ordinance entitled 2026 amendments to the use table within the zoning ordinance of the town of Hollis, Maine.
Can I just add,
Yeah.
our approval is an approval to send those proposed ordinance updates to the select board for placement on the warrant article for June.
Right. And I think she's wanting us to do this again because those numbers may change. And if they change, she wants us to be on record that we agree with 24, 25, and 20, or whatever the case is.
Regardless of the numbers, those are the documents that
right.
we
that is correct.
presented to the planning board. We had multiple meetings ourselves and then public hearings and a joint meeting with the select board where we kind of hashed out some of the last items that were confusing.
And the
or-
town lawyer.
Yeah, and the town lawyer. Yeah, that's true.
So I've motioned it. We're looking for a second.
I second.
Perfect.
All right, any further discussion? Tommy, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 Yes?
All right, then, as we provided to the select board, they have gone up to the select board for consideration for inclusion on the warrant. We will need to start, as I was saying, we will need to start reviewing our zoning ordinances. Again, we were working on performance standards. It is April now. I don't want to wait until the June ballot to continue moving, but changes that we made that may or may not be approved by residents of the town, changes that we propose, could have an impact on the performance standards section, but I think we should move forward. And even if we do that in, we may not have other business, but we'll do, we could do an hour and a half.
Right.
Keep it less than the full 2 hours, but
Yeah, I'd like to present something.
yes, please do, Butch.
I would I think we should consider requiring sidewalks in developments of 5 or more building lots. Reason being, one of the things in the comprehensive plan talks about bicycle in and walk in and so forth being modes of transportation here in town. And those are places that we can require sidewalks to be put in, and eventually we may have them throughout town, who knows? But now's the time to do something like that.
Which
And-
would those go into the subdivision regulations, do you think? Or would they go into the zoning ordinance?
Well, it could go in the zone ordinance, I would think, that's required in a development for such and such, but it probably also ought to be in the other, what you said,
Yeah.
I want to jump in just
the
real quick.
subdivision regulation.
So I remember when I was on the planning board in Leamington years ago now, they tried to require sidewalks in front of new businesses that were going to be built. And from what I remember, legal shot it down because it was basically an illusion of safety where the sidewalk didn't connect to anything. So it made a sidewalk in front, and then it just never went anywhere. I obviously would double, triple check and see if that's still really a thing, especially where, you know, bicycle transportation is a huge part of Hollis transportation according to the comprehensive plan, and bicycles need to be considered as a means of transportation because it's huge in Hollis, according to the comprehensive plan. But we just took out, the residents just voted to remove cluster subdivisions, which would arguably be the exact place that sidewalks should go. And I don't know that we have the ability to require a developer to put in a mile of sidewalk, half mile of sidewalk, in a subdivision.
We do if it's a requirement of subdivision.
Yeah.
They don't hear about it.
So I think that, thank you, Butch, for bringing that suggestion to the planning board. I think that maybe this is something we need to talk to Southern Maine Planning about to find out whether Tom's concerned about, there may be some potential legal issue for it, or, they may have some ideas about how to propose it that meet what you're looking for, that meet the, if it's in the comprehensive plan and it's identified as a proposed project, or you said strategies, goals, strategies, and what was the?
Goals or strategy.
Goals. So if it was in there as a proposed strategy, as a proposed strategy, I think that's exactly what we would do. We would go to Southern Maine Planning and say, what are the impacts of this? Can we do it? We'd probably go to the town lawyer. So I wonder, I'm just trying to think about how to keep this. We aren't doing subdivision regulations until after we do performance standards, but performance standard or.
Ooh, if we put it in regulations, we just add it to regulations. Subdivision regulations are regulations, not
Yeah. Yes.
as long as legal says we can get away with it. And I just think
Well, it just
it's
keeps
in the,
kids,
it's in
it's
the
gonna
comp
keep
plan.
kids out of the road,
Right.
young mothers wheeling their babies,
Yep.
and bicyclists.
Oh, he just went with the young ones. Yes.
I like that.
And I,
He just
I
pointed at
agree.
me.
We don't need a sidewalk in front of your place or in front of Jason's place. It doesn't go anywhere,
Right.
you know?
But in a development.
Yeah.
But in subdivisions of 5 or more,
Yep.
to me, it's a valid thing. There's some verbiage somewhere that talks about wide shoulders
Yep.
and path for people to walk on. Well, if you got wide shoulders of path,
Why
who's
wouldn't it
going
be
to
a
keep them?
sidewalk?
Who's going to keep the high grass and the bushes out of it? Nobody's going to do that.
So
So,
I do think, I know that one of the issues, one of the things that I've heard, and this is more in a more developed area, is maintenance of the sidewalk in front of, so, you know, who's responsible for the sidewalk? Who's responsible if someone falls and harms themselves on the sidewalk? So I think there's a lot of things to think about. And I also wonder or question why, so there's been a lot of discussion about sidewalks as relates to the projects on, the bridge projects on 202 and the bridge project that was finished in the last decade on 4A. And I know that we've heard, there were, you know, when you do a bridge that crosses over two towns have to agree to something. That is way harder than just getting one town to agree to something. And I think that there was a difference of opinion between the two towns on the sidewalk issue. Obviously, it's different. That's a far more traversed road. There's a true danger concern that people would have at that bridge, and the amount of traffic and the amount of truck traffic that goes by there. I wouldn't expect that a subdivision would generate similar amounts of traffic, but I think that it's something that I'd love to know a little bit more about, like the pros and cons of requiring a sidewalk. I love sidewalks. I'm a fan of not walking on the road and being able to walk on a path that is pedestrian friendly. So for me, you know, I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. However, I will say that there are some areas, I think in Buxton, that have sidewalks that they're very maybe not super well maintained, or they're short. You know, the path, the sidewalk itself is very short path, and so it begs to differ. You know, does that actually generate safety? So I think we should continue to talk about it.
Yep.
And would love any input that if what you want to do a little bit of research and find out you know, what the scoop is on sidewalks in 2026. I would love to hear a little bit more about it.
All right.
Greg.
You guys, just a couple questions. If you're gonna dig into this, Butch, if a road remains private, who owns liability for the sidewalk? Who owns maintenance? And then if the road becomes accepted by the town, will they be maintained in the winter? Does the town have the staff to plow sidewalks, salt sidewalks? Those sort of things. And then regarding bicycles, they're generally discouraged from sidewalks. So if that's one of the main reasons, we might want to look at other solutions. Thanks, guys.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
bicycles aren't even allowed.
Okay, I have a little hard time hearing you, Greg. The echoes in the room still. It is 1,000% better than it used to be here, but.
So Greg said
I know.
liability.
He spoke about if it's a private road, who maintains it, and if it becomes a town road, who maintains it. If it's in a subdivision, it's going to be a subdivision organization. I
You're
forget.
talking about like an HOA?
HOA, that's
Do
right.
all subdivisions have HOAs though?
Yeah, we
Yes,
require
they have
HOA.
to
They do?
have an
Okay.
HOA if they're not, you know, to maintain the road if it's not accepted by the town. So if it's private, or it's going to be HOA maintained, and if it becomes public road, I guess it would be maintained by the town. And if they didn't have the personnel to take care of it, they'd have to make arrangements or get the personnel. It's just a thought for future. You know, we're going to have developments around, and it'd be nice to not have people walking in the road. So that's, you know, it's just something thought.
Do you want to add it to the to list, the second list?
The to-do list?
Yeah, the to-do number 2 list.
Yes.
And it would fit in with our work on subdivisions.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that's
Absolutely.
That's a
dovetails
great
in
place
there,
for us
great.
To have some good discussion about it and to get some of the answers.
That fits in with
And I
that
think that would be something we'd want to ask SMP, Southern Maine Planning. You know, what are the options? Maybe there's options that I haven't thought of, or maybe the liability issue is a settled case law. We just don't know that yet.
We got a 14-lot subdivision coming up.
Yes, we
next
do,
month.
in May.
I mean,
Is there a proposed sidewalk?
there is not. but there could be.
All right. So maybe.
That's all I'm saying.
Yep, so maybe it's more imperative to get a little bit of information about sidewalks and kind of what the world of sidewalks is like these days. I think it should be a yellow brick road, or what?
Whatever. But to do with that other subdivision, do we need to have the Waterboro people come to our meeting, or?
No, so actually, that's good to know. We do have a preliminary subdivision application that came in on a project that we had previously done a sketch plan review. Sketch plan review, there is no decision made or no findings made at that time. And they are to, that is an opportunity to discuss the proposal and identify anything that they might be thinking that they may not have thought of that we know we are going to want. The situation with Waterboro, they have actually updated the, how do I describe this? I'm not going to use my words properly. It's too close to 9. The developer transferred some of the land. So the subdivision now no longer crosses between two towns. It abuts Waterboro. When a subdivision abuts another town, we provide them with notice only.
Okay, I saw that deed. They deeded that land over
To the trust,
Okay,
yeah, to a
so
trust.
They did that for that reason, okay.
Yep. That is my understanding, is that was,
Yeah.
and when it came back to us not crossing town lines, which does make for a much easier process. Although I'd love working with our fellow planning board members in other towns, I can imagine that does take quite a long time. 14-lot subdivision, for me, I believe this is the largest that I've ever worked on. So I encourage us to, there are some time constraints written into our ordinances for major subdivisions that I think that we just want to make sure that we are being extra thoughtful when we are doing our reviews, and no need to rush them through. The timeframes that we have are reasonable. I encourage everyone, though, to go take a look at the application that came in. The first order, I think, of business, we have to do finding it complete. We have some notice provisions that we have to abide by. It will be a major, just given to the size. So that does require a public hearing. So we don't have to wonder if we should do it or not. But there are some requested waivers in the application. And I think that that's going to be the first thing that we'll need to really look into and determine whether or not we feel comfortable with waiving the ask. I don't want to talk too much about it because they're not in front of us, and we haven't noticed properly yet. Ashley, that applicant wanted to come in front of us in mid-May, correct? Okay, I think it was the 13th. So, folks, more to come. Other than that, I'm going to end. Anything else? I would take a motion to.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, all opposed? All in favor? Yay. All opposed? None. And we are good to go. Thank you, guys.
You didn't want to address that?
You just like coming to the meeting?
Oh.
He's running for select board.